Day 1119 of this Trump administration. That leaves 265 days to go until the 2020 presidential election. It has been exactly 1 week since the U.S. Senate voted not guilty. After warnings of a retribution campaign by the president seems to be in the middle of a campaign of retribution. It started with the removal of Lieutenant Colonel Vindman and Vindman's twin brother and the ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland. Then, when the feds at the Justice Department announced their intention to pursue a federal prison sentence of 7 to 9 years for Trump's friend of 30 years, Roger Stone, in keeping with federal sentencing guidelines, Trump put this out to his 72 million and change Twitter followers: a horrible and very unfair situation and a miscarriage of justice. The Justice Department then overruled the recommended sentence, which then led all 4 of the federal prosecutors on the case to withdraw themselves in protest. The president said with a straight face he didn't get involved, and then added this today for good measure: congratulations to Attorney General Bill Barr for taking charge of a case that was totally out of control and perhaps should not even have been brought. Evidence now clearly shows that the Mueller scam was improperly brought and tainted. Even Bob Mueller lied to Congress. A fact check here: there's no evidence Bob Mueller lied to Congress, nor has anyone ever accused him of lying to Congress. Another fact: Roger Stone is a convicted felon, convicted at trial of lying to Congress, witness tampering, and obstruction of justice. This afternoon, Trump had much more to say about his friend Roger Stone and denied that his actions could be considered political interference.
They treated Roger Stone very badly.
Are you considering a pardon?
I don't want to say that yet. I want to thank the Justice Department for seeing this horrible thing. And I didn't speak to him, by the way, just so you understand. 9 years in jail. It's a disgrace. In the meantime, Comey walks around making book deals.
You're concerned about the 4 prosecutors?
I'm not concerned about anything. They ought to go back to school and learn, because I'll tell you, with the way they treated people, nobody should be treated like that.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General Barr has accepted an invitation from the House Judiciary Committee under Mr. Nadler to testify on March 31st. Mark your calendars, though, in this news cycle, that's the equivalent of a decade from now. Federal Judge Amy Berman Jackson, who's presiding over the case, has also drawn Trump's attention, prompting him to ask, quote, "Is this the judge that put Paul Manafort in solitary confinement, something that not even mobster Al Capone had to endure?" For the record, she did not. More on that later. A new court filing today reveals Judge Jackson has denied Stone's request for a new trial. She's scheduled to sentence him a week from tomorrow, February 20. And there is more to the controversy. Jesse Liu, the Justice Department official handling the Stone prosecution, as well as other high-profile Mueller inquiry cases, has now apparently been knocked down as well. Today, the White House confirmed it has withdrawn her nomination for an undersecretary post over at the Treasury Department. She'd been awaiting her Senate confirmation hearing, but had already stepped down from her post, heading up the U.S. Attorney's Office there in Washington. Outraged Democrats are now demanding the DOJ internal watchdog step in.
I am calling on the Office of Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, to conduct an immediate, intensive investigation, because this kind of political interference is exactly the abuse of power, the dictatorial interference that we all ought to resist on both sides of the aisle.
Some Republicans are expressing concern about Trump's actions regarding Roger Stone, yet are stopping short of doing anything else.
I don't know which actions you're referring to. I've made very clear that I don't think anyone should be retaliated against. That has nothing to do with the basis by which I voted to acquit the president.
I don't think that the president needed to jump into the middle of this in the first place. I think it's just bad.
Just bad. Other Republicans were more careful to avoid any criticism of this president.
I got real concerns about overzealous prosecution more than anything else. I want Mr. Stone to be treated fairly.
The president is entitled to his opinion, and there would have been nothing wrong with the president picking up the phone, as I understand it, and talking to justice.
As all of this was unfolding, the president was asked in the Oval Office what the experience of his Senate trial and the charges he once faced had taught him.
What lesson did you learn from impeachment?
That the Democrats are crooked, they're vicious, that they shouldn't have brought impeachment.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.